listeners at home. I'm Jean Young for Cabin Tales and Trails, a page one story and music collection. For today's episode, we're interviewing Nellie Strowbridge, Nellie P. Strowbridge. Nellie's an author who's been recognized internationally as well as in Canada and Newfoundland. Nellie has been a long-time friend of mine as well as a writer. We've attended workshops and we've read all across Canada and almost in every province, I do believe, in Canada. And Nellie has also had a residency in Ireland twice and read at the Canadian Embassy in Ireland. So as we said, she's a very distinguished author. So now we're going to ask Nellie a few questions just so she can tell us who she is and what she's all about. Nellie, when did you start writing?
Maybe when I was 12. I had something published in the Family Hero in Quebec, and then I had a poem published in Vancouver, and also one in the Telegraph. So from there I don't know. I guess there's some sort of intrinsic motivation. That's just, you're born with it.
Yes. What kind of things have you written and are you writing, Nellie?
Well, I just finished my latest novel, and that's Servant Girl on the Sawhorse, and also a book of poetry, Ukraine in Our Hearts, story poems about all the people suffering in Ukraine. And we're so lucky that we're not in one of those war-torn places.
Very powerful. She may read us a poem later on, I hope.
Yes.
Yes. Nellie has also been first Newfoundland advice columnist. One of our page one students typed up 50,000 words of her advice columns. So, dear Nellie, so if you have a problem about writing or any other thing, she's well experienced in giving advice. How has your views changed since that long time ago?
Oh, you always change.
You do, don't you?
You're never the same, especially if you grow up in a very strict religion.
Yes.
Comes a point where you have to examine it and realize how much was there that shouldn't have been there. As a made in stone religion.
You've also were a columnist for the Compass for 12 years, I do believe.
7 years.
7 years, okay. So again, Nellie is an excellent poet, research person, and of course a novelist. I advise you to go check her out and Fletcher Press for one time.
I love research.
Yes.
When I was writing Catherine Snow, I came across The Servant Girl that I wrote about.
Yes.
And I just couldn't get away from the story. So I had to do a book on it. And also, it got so big, I wrote about the war in 1696 to 1706. The war between the French Abenakis and the English.
It seems like writing is like that, doesn't it? It pulls you in different directions than where you plan to go.
Yeah, especially when you come across injustices against women.
Nellie is also, of course, how many books of poetry do you have?
2 books of poetry.
2 books of poetry. Book of short stories.
Short stories. I guess about 4 novels.
And
12 altogether, anyway.
And a collection, an anthology, of course. I always think that Nellie, even in her novels, writes as a poet. Sometimes her novels are like a big, long poem, and you have to really think in order to appreciate it. She's been, she said, I don't know how many awards you've had with the Arts and Letters.
16 or 17.
16 or 17.
One actually got a poem about the girl who was put on the sawhorse.
Did you? And of course she's a member of Writers Union, Page 1, League of Canadian Poets. And she was a representative for the League of Poets for Nova Scotia. And she's also, of course, been shortlisted for Newfoundland Labrador E.J. Pratt Award. She's her gift for Christmas is a non-fiction. It's got a lot of and the Newfoundland tongue, and that's based on Newfoundland words and traditions, correct?
Right.
And of course,
words that were never in print before.
Yes.
I think there might have been a couple of hundred.
So they weren't in the
They were just
dictionary.
spoken, but no one had written them down.
And she's also read from on a book tour, and she was a finalist in the Newfoundland and Labrador Heritage and History Award for Ghost at the Southern Cross. The Ghost at the Southern Cross is not so much about ghosts; it's about what happened to a community after sinking up the cross.
It was always a ghost in people's minds because they never found the ship.
Yes,
and nobody was ever found.
Which makes you really wonder what happened.
My great uncle was on that ship.
Was he?
He left a sweetheart.
And of course, that is one of the main themes in your book about somebody losing their sweetheart.
Yes, of course.
I don't think there's anything that can tell you that inspired you to be an author because, like you say, it comes naturally. Is that correct?
I just fell into it. I just wanted to write. And I read a lot because in my house there were books, there were magazines. I remember feeling sorry for Dag Hammarskjöld when he got killed in the plane crash.
Yes.
United Secretary General of the United Nations.
Yes.
So I was only 14 then. And Stephen Truscott.
Yes.
When he was killed.
Or he wasn't killed.
When he was accused of killing this young girl. I felt very sorry for him. He was in the Time magazine.
Yes.
Of course, he was later exonerated.
Do you remember how you started to come to page one? I can't quite remember.
I think I was here a couple of years. You contacted me.
Okay. We met, I believe, at a Writers Alliance conference, and we shared a room in Littledale, I do believe.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That's the first time that we met.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. Back then, they used to pay for our transportation to go there. And wow. I think that's really important for the government to, encourage people to help them with the transportation, which is not done anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
No. If a person is just beginning writing, what tips do you have?
I would say write what you feel so others will feel what you write. Just pour out your heart into whatever you're really interested in. Don't look at a blank screen and say, what will I write today? You need more motivation than that. Just go with what you feel to write and do it regardless of what other people think of it. It's your work and it comes from your heart. Let it cool a while, go back to it.
Is there a significant moment in your writing career that you remember?
I remember when I was at Costco one day signing books, Catherine Snow, and this lady came up to me and she said, I had to shake your hand because when I read Catherine Snow, I just couldn't get it out of my mind and I just had to see you. And she reached out her hand, and when she shook my hand, with just like an electric current went through my body.
Imagine.
And I wondered if maybe she was a descendant of Catherine Snow.
One never knows. Catherine Snow, by the way, was the last woman hanged in Newfoundland.
Yes, 1834, July 21st. And she was accused of killing and convicted of killing her husband without any evidence that she did.
Yes. And they actually got a lot of attention, that book did, and they actually put on a trial, a repeat trial, big one.
And she won. She found not guilty. The Toronto Star actually was phoning me about it, waiting to put an article out about it.
So there was
And of course that led to the hanged woman's daughter, which was Bridget. And she was left to look after the children, but then the children were also scattered. So she was just left without anyone. So one night she got into this boat, nice moonlit night, and she didn't care where she was going. So where she went, that's her story.
Even though you don't know anything about the real Catherine Snow's children?
I know some things about
some
them.
things.
I know she had 10 children, not like the reports in the newspaper always said she had 8, but she had 10.
And I'm sure you know that too, because you are an in-depth researcher for sure.
Yes.
Do you remember your first book was published with Wittershins, is that correct?
With Jesperson. It
Yes.
was called Wittershins, meaning to turn back the clock, which means you turn back the clock to this time in history. And I won two stories in that book first. One was Secrets, I won first place in the Finance and Letters competition. And I went from there. I wrote, I think it was about 12 stories, that book.
Yes. So that was your introduction to the publishing world of printed books.
Yes, because I had walked in with my book. So you do have to push yourself. I walked in to this publisher's office. I laid my book on his desk, and he said, well, I have a lot of books there, manuscripts there. See a pile. And I said, well, I have to tell you about my stories. So I told him, and he said, well, maybe I'll get to look at them in 3 months. Anyway, the next month they found and accepted my book.
So you had to be...
Because I believed in my stories.
Yes.
And you have to believe in what you're doing.
Yes, for sure. And I think that's a good lesson to any new author who is trying to break into the publishing
Believe in
world.
what you're doing.
So Nellie, since we've talked about your writing, would you like to read something from your writing and give us a little bit background on it?
I did tell you about the last book I did. It's with the publisher right now, which was... Well, first, I wanted to read... Sometimes you get good feedbacks, and I got a lot of those. But this is from a little girl in grade 4, so I have to read you this. When Nellie came to talk to all the students, none of us thought we were going to feel what we felt. When Nellie spoke, there was a sensation of poetry. The words came out of her mouth in such a great form. She put things into place just right when she spoke. From what we could tell, she did the same in her writing. Her stories and her poems are something very wonderful. They speak of what she feels. They speak of who she is. Nellie Strowbridge's writings talks about who she is inside. It talks about our deepest feelings. It speaks about our greatest adventures. Nellie Strowbridge lives in her stories and poems. After Nellie's class, we all thought we had known her for all of our lives or more. In her poem, she expressed to us half her life or more. I like that. All right.
So it was from a child in grade 4.
Yes.
That's very well written for a child in grade 4.
I know.
So
I'll read you a poem from my Ukrainian collection, which actually was triggered by a little Belarusian boy who came to us in 1999 to escape the Chernobyl fallout. And when I heard about the invasion of Ukraine, February 24th, 2022, I thought about him growing up, was he in this war? And that's how it started. Brimming with empathy. Train attack. The children are leaving. Their minds like suitcases packed with whatever they wanted to leave behind. Images locked inside. No key to let them out. Survival is like a heavy backpack, carried front and back. A lifetime of possessions and family left behind. They hurry to the Kramer station. A stuffed toy and a security blanket squeezed tight. Heart beats louder than the click-clack of train wheels. Feet reluctant, they climb aboard a train, some finding a seat and pressing a hand against the window, as if to imprint their memory on family, waving goodbye. A Takayu missile blast leaves strewn along the station like a broken and soiled laundry line. Surviving children will one day and night drag this memory, a soil-torn blanket they can't let go of.
Lovely. Sad, but sad and terrible. And
Well, I want people to be able to feel what's happening there, in that country.
Yes.
But we're so fortunate that we haven't experienced any of this. So I ended up writing about 170 poems. And I've got it down to 150 now, I think, to make it down more. I might write more. So anyway, I was hoping if I could get a publisher for this book, I would have money to give to the Ukrainian refugees. That was my aim.
Excellent. And would you like to read from your book now?
Well, I could read a little bit from The Servant Girl, just the beginning. This would actually be my last historical novel. I'm going to go somewhere else, maybe Strangers in Paris. A love story. Anyway, it's a prologue. Elizabeth Bunker, her graying hair peaked over a high forehead above arched eyebrows, sat down on a small padded stool facing her writing desk and gathered her dark skirts around her. She turned back the white lace sleeve covering her hand and bent to her task. She dipped the quill in an inkwell, careful not to take too much ink. She wrote carefully, allowing the ink to leave the quill with restraint so she would not have to block out a single cursive. Reverend Henry Lord Bishop, London, December 7, 1706. My dear sir, I am writing to inform you of an occurrence, no, a tragedy, that has snared my mind with grief. It took place inside Fort William. I must apprise you of the fact that St. John's is not an easy place for a woman to live, and were it not for my husband, who is steadfast in his will to remain, I would have taken leave of this place and returned to England some time ago. There is always a temptation. Considering the tragedy, you would tell me to remain silent in order to keep my own skin intact. That I cannot do. The burden on my heart and mind is too grievous. I do not want to have reached an old age bothered by troubling events without relieving my conscience of what I know. If I ignore the corruption around me, my conscience will be my worst torment. I must not speak ill of all residents who are in governing positions, only of those who are governed by the opportune furtherance of their own position. There is much in this colony to grieve over. That does not negate the tragic event, nor should it absolve the guilty. The event of which I write took place late December 1704. Just the prologue to it.
So that was the, that person really captured your mind, didn't you?
Yeah, when I saw that, I had to write about Christian. I had to give her a name because she only had a last name.
Yes.
So I had to give her a first name. I had to do a lot of research because of the wars.
Yes.
And Carbonare Island is where the English hung out and fought the French. They censored.
What is it? You call it Roman clay?
Roman clay.
Clay. That story is based on history, correct?
Well, it's sort of based on the truth, and yet it's kind of a close on, I guess, on the story.
Yes. This is very difficult to write about people who are gone, for sure. Well, Nellie P. Strowbridge, thank you very much for coming here today and sharing your thoughts and your views on writing and life with us. It's been a pleasure as always, and I urge everybody to go out and check out the Flanker Press and buy lots of her books. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now. Signing off. Jean Young for Page 1 and Cabot Trails. Bye.